I'll be honest with you. I'm not exactly a physically fit individual. So, if I was stuck on a entire island full of a dangerous man-hunting sport and crazy power users all around me, I don't know how far I'd be able to run. Fortunately for me, a strange boy with a paw on his hand would be able to me to safety. So, yeah, that happened to a lot of people. That's kind of my segue because I'm may not be, one of the people who, you know, had to stay on the island. I sure hate to be those guys, because, yeah. Hello, Internet. I'm the hero of Julios, once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1162, The God Valley Battle Royale. Yeah. So, the artwork is the completion of Yamato's little journey across Wano, as we have gone to every single part of the region. We've fought bad guys, we've ate a lot of food, lots of food eating. You really want to emphasize that Luffy did leave Little Otama a place where she can eat her fill, that anyone in Wano can have as much food as they want. We fought giant saber-toothed tigers, we went on random side quests, we ended up adopting two dinosaurs. What is it with Kaido's family and adopting Ulti and Page 1? First Kaido took them in, and now Yamato took them in. So these guys just really like Onis and following them around. But that is the end of Yamato's journey. I was really hoping we'd get an explanation of what happened to the rest of the Beast Pirates, because, there's still Sasaki, Black Maria, what happened to what happened to Drake, or not Drake, what happened to Hawkins. Drake was there when Hawkins. Maybe Hawkins passed away. Maybe he actually did. But we didn't see what happened to Kaido or Linlin either. And that was actually the number one thing I was kind of hoping we'd see. Maybe that's the next cover story, is Linlin and Kaido's journey now that they're forcibly retired from their position as emperors. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the actual chapter itself, which starts off with Shaki being saved. Yep, Rayleigh's got her. Rayleigh's running with her. She looks so peaceful in his arms. And Rayleigh even tells her, Shaki, there's something I need to tell you. And she goes, you don't have to say it. I already know. We're not that kind of couple. We don't go lovey-dovey in front of everyone. We just know. Personally, I hope that, when I get into a relationship, that's kind of how it is we just know. We don't have to make it public to the rest of the world. We just know. And when people see us together, they just know. And when we're old and living on Sabo the Archipelago, and I go away for days and days on end, get into crippling debt, and then sell myself into slavery in order to get out of the debt by beating my way out of the slavery, I can go back to her knowing, because we just know. That's a good relationship right there. And this is actually really nice on the part of all the other pirates. I'm actually very proud of everyone, because they're all like, okay, Battle Royale, we gotta save Shaki. Oh, Shaki's been saved. Well, I want to be the one to save her, so everyone, get Rayleigh. Whoa, pump the brakes on that, buddy. If we attack Rayleigh, we'll hurt Shaki. Shaki is more important than the glory of saving Shaki. So kudos to every single pirate that showed up here. Eyes on the prize. We then cut to what we saw in Kuma's flashback, where Ivankov and Kuma were about to eat the devil fruits, and Linlin comes bashing through the wall, pinning Ivankov to the wall, and preventing, in order to prevent her from getting both fruits, Kuma, just gullets it, and now he has the paw power. We actually do see later in the chapter that he does start using the power to just people away, and the people do tell him anywhere is better than here. So while Kuma's not in full control of his power, yeah, he kind of just, here we go, and just started sending people away. We then cut to another member of the chaos going around here, Garp. He's taken out, pirates and stuff. He's looking for Roger, but Garp sees the slaves. Garp sees the targets on their back. Garp got here when the competition was still going on. Because remember, Roger showed up, Rock showed up, Garp showed up, and then the God's Knights were like, I guess we have to end our manhunt. So Garp probably got to see a few of the dumber celestial dragons still playing the game. Because, most infamous pirate in the world over there, other most infamous pirate in the world over there, chaos ensuing in all directions. Well, I'm a celestial dragon. There's no way these vicious pirates would ever think to attack me, so I'll just continue my hunting game. And Garp, honestly, it's the equivalent of an iPad kid just not recognizing any danger around them. And Garp sees the iPad kid celestial dragon, and he actually calls Sengoku. He's got, his transponder snail or whatever he uses, and he says, "Did you know about this?" Now, Sengoku does admit that he did hear a rumor from another Marine, but the Marine that started that rumor, as it's worded in the manga, disappeared from the Navy ranks. More than likely, he was, removed from everything. So, I'm going to guess the same thing will probably happen to Dragon's platoon, and any other Marine that was used in the roundup portion before the hunt was probably listen, you saw nothing. You were never here. This incident never happened. These people didn't exist. And that's probably the story that goes. And so Garp didn't know about this. So to all of you who are out there saying Garp approves of the Celestial Dragons doing this, no, that's not true. However, I will concede that Garp working within the system to defeat the system isn't a great strategy. I wish there was a better way. But I'm defending Garp. Garp's doing what he feels he has to do. And that's been a true thing for Garp's character for a while. In fact, we've seen an extreme example of this in Borsalino. Borsalino literally tells us that he is just a cog in the machine with no free will of his own here. Garp is a step below that because he's not blindly following. He's not forced to follow, but he's got his own agenda, and I'm interested to see how that all turns out. And finally, the last pirate with an agenda on this mission, we've got Rox. He has his wife Eris, and Eris is holding Teach as Rox is running away. The God's Knights are behind him. They're chasing after him, and Eris tells him you can't hold them off with just one arm. You need to attack with both hands. And Rox is like, I'm not putting you down. And she says, I need you to put me down right now. I mean, honestly, look at what we're up against. They took our family and turned them into giant demon monster things. We even hear Rox calling out to his father, I assume, and Granny. So I'm guessing either his mom's mom or his dad's mom. But they've been Domi Reversied. We've seen this before with Dory and Broggy. This isn't good. And Eris actually jumps off of Rox's shoulder, telling him, if I wasn't the kind of woman who could protect myself and a baby, you wouldn't have fallen in love with me. We'll meet again in Lelucia, okay? Now you go take out those God's Knights, and if they catch me, I will kill myself and our son. Oh good, she's just as crazy as Rox. That's fun. And Rox is like, what? Wait, why am I the one that you're acting like this is some kind of noble sacrifice where you're protecting me? I'm protecting you. Whatever. Go ahead, woman. Crazy. And so she goes. She's protecting Teach. We know Teach survives this. We haven't had a lot of time with Eris to really get to know her, but she is a mom in a One Piece flashback. Historically, they don't have a very long lifespan. But we don't get to see what happens to her. Instead, we get to see what happens to the God's Knights, because, whoo boy. Rox takes out his sword, puts it in both hands, because apparently this is a two-handed weapon, and he slashes across the northern hemisphere of the, or not hemisphere, northern peninsula of the island, and just looks at the God's Knights and says, you're not getting past me. Meanwhile, we get to see a little more of the aftermath of Linlin's actions. So, Charlotte Linland, she, defeated 2 small children and got 1 devil fruit out of the deal. She's sitting there. She's pretty proud of herself, and she holds it up because, you gotta let it hit the sunlight, and all the carnage below causes this nice, uplighting that really shows off the scales of the fish fruit. And she's like, I got it. The legendary model of the fish fruit. With this very powerful devil fruit, I will give it to my son Katakuri, and he will become so strong. And as she's saying this, Kaido's coming up behind her like the cat in the hat with a baseball bat. And he swings, and he hits her in the face. The fruit goes flying. He jumps in the air and just chomps down on it. If I had a nickel for every time we have had a character in One Piece who could have potentially become a dragon, but instead those hopes and dreams were stolen by a Yonko, we'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's wild that it's happened twice. So yeah, Katakuri could have been a dragon. Ivankov could have been a dragon. Katakuri could have been a drag queen. I guess Kaido also had that potential, and then Katakuri could have also, or Kaido could have also been a Mochi Man. I'm sure the fan art for Mochi Kaido and Mochi Ivankov are probably already out there somewhere. We're probably going to see some dragon artwork of Katakuri soon. That'll be pretty fun to look at. And I mean, we already know Kaido during his fight with Luffy when he was like, stop it. We know Kaido could have pulled off the Horn fruit pretty well either. So yeah, that's kind of wild. Naturally, Linland is not happy about this. She immediately starts attacking Kaido, but we do see he does get away from her by transforming into his dragon form, because a few panels later, we see this dragon taking to the sky. Garp is questioning everything around him. You got the Roger pirates with Scopper Gaban. They're finding the actual treasure, which apparently has some devil fruits among it. That's pretty informative. And the Rocks pirates show up to attack them, so we got fights over treasure, we got a dragon in the sky, we got the hero of the Marines, well, future hero of the Marines, questioning everything he believes in, and we've got Saturn sitting on a hill, watching it all go down. And as Saturn's sitting there, just watching everything happen, he gets a little voice in his head, and it's Lord Emu. And Eam says, Saturn, what's happening? Things seem kind of crazy. And Saturn says, yes, Lord Emu. It's really a lot of stuff going on here. He does say specifically, such destruction might bring about the birth of something new. And Eam says, ooh, no, I've spent the last 800 years making sure new things don't happen. So we gotta snuff that out. And Saturn's like, yeah, we should probably snuff that out. And we see the big spider legs starting to come out from the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, hooray! Spider Stomp! Canonically, Spider Stomp has only killed 1 person that we've seen. And it was an old man who put all of his stats into intelligence. So, I mean, yeah, the least impressive of the 5 elders is still leaps and bounds more terrifying than anything else we've come across. But it's Saturn. And I was not looking forward to Saturn fighting, if I'm going to be honest with you. But that's okay. We'll get to that. So, after all the craziness ensued, a big blast of hockey washes across the island. Garp looks in the direction of it, Roger looks in the direction of it, Rox looks in the direction of it. I keep calling him Rox, but he's Davy D. Zabek. But I'm just going to keep calling him Rox. But all 3 of them look in the direction of it, and Rox takes a look around him at all the holy knights on the ground as they are writhing in pain. You actually see a broken sword jutting out of Garling. And I do want to mention, this is something happened we saw earlier in the chapter, Garling does mention that Rox's attacks are so strong that it takes them an extra amount of time to regenerate. So I'm sure they'll show up in the fight, but they'll probably show up later in whatever final battle is about to happen here on God Valley. But as Rox is looking at this source of the hockey, Newgate comes up next to him. And Newgate gets his weapon ready, and Rox looks at him and he says, buddy, you know, there's really no treasure over here. There's just, whatever that is, and, you're really not going to get anything out of this. Newgate looks at him and goes, well, I owe you for paying my tab so many times, so, you know. It's a good little bond of friendship here. And as the two of them are preparing for whatever happens next, a big old dragon shows up next to them as Kaido's like, guys, I got a devil fruit. Oh, I gotta test it out. What are we testing it out on? What are we doing? And Rox looks at this little eager dragon baby boy and he goes, well, at least one of us is having fun today. Yeah, no, we got something up ahead of us. But if I were to guess what it is, I'd say it's a representation of the world. As we see the legs of Saint Saturn's monstrous spider form, ready to spider stomp upon enemies. But from the what is it called? The thorax, that's what it's called on a spider. From the thorax up, it's not Saturn. It is the hauntingly smooth silhouette and the piercing eyes of Eam. So yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, we finally got to see Eam fight when he took over Gunko's body. Well, did we? I mean, we saw the Domi Reversi, and we saw the bat wings, and we saw Eam, you know, use a big arrow thing to stab Cobra. Like, we've seen Eam fight, but we haven't seen Eam fight. And I'm wondering if maybe next chapter we'll get a face reveal on top of all this. I would love to put a face to the name. Because as it stands right now, if you look at the One Piece card game, we actually got an Eam leader card. That's so cool. What's the artwork? Oh, it's a silhouette. Well, okay, that makes sense. We haven't seen much of Eam, but what's the alt art? The silhouette, but closer, because that's literally all we have to work with here. Even an artist as good as Oda can only do so much with a silhouette, and I think it's about time we got a face reveal. So, let me know in the comments below, do you think, like I do, that someone's going to get Domi reversied in this fight? Personally, I think it might actually be Roger and Garp get reversed to defeat Rox, rather than Roger and Garp having to defeat a reversed Rox. Or do you think the three of them are going to fight Eam? Eam's just going to hit the eject button and just blast the entire island in order to ensure that nobody gets out of there? I mean, Saturn can regenerate, he can regenerate, the Gods Knights can regenerate, so it's not like he'd lose anyone important to him, if you can even call them important. Or do you think just something completely unnatural is going to happen because it's One Piece, and who knows? Most importantly, though, do you think we're going to get an Eam face reveal? Because that's the thing I think is going to be the most shocking part of next chapter that we're going to have to wait a week for. Regardless, though, thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.